My name is Lisa Starr, and this is Natural Time, a video podcast that I do on the weekends. I do a regular audio podcast 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you can find that on the usual platforms. And I try to orient this one to beginners, but I am feeling quite out in space today, which is fitting, and I'll explain why. So I don't know how totally beginner will be, because when it gets kind of woo-woo, I think that everyone feels like I am being a little ungrounded, and ungrounded isn't great for beginners. Nonetheless, I just want to get on that podcast video platform and be real. That would help me. A lot of the reason that I put this information out in the world is because I live in such a way that I'm not interacting with people in my life about the calendar. The calendar talk has to be sent into the ethers because I don't know anyone who's doing what I'm doing. I've been doing it for 25 years, and you would think along the way I would have found some really solid recruits or people from the greater community who would become my besties, but my temperament is pretty insular and artistic, meaning I spend a lot of time being creative, not being really adept at socializing in the world of humans. Pretty infamously, I have 4 dogs. I have people that I love deeply around me, but they are not totally into calendar teachings. So I'm going to lay it out all online for you all with gratitude that you might be interested. So today is the 13th day of the Red Earth wave spell. It is called Red Cosmic Moon, and tomorrow we begin a new wave spell, the White Dog wave spell, which is exciting because it's about love and heart and loyalty, all the things that we see in dogs that we love, domesticated dogs, and all kinds of pups in the world, little yes, wild wolf puppies, but also just all the different baby beings of all the animal kind. They act kind of cute and dependent and devotional, and we do not fault them for that. We don't go, that's pathetic, puppies who love too much, but when people do it and women do it, there can be a stigma. And when children grow up in households where the parents can't handle or offer unconditional love, then children can get stigmatized too for being heart open and loving. So I'm telling you all that because the White Dog wave spell is so inspirational, because we act like dogs and feel like dogs, but we can also uncover heart wounding that happened when our loving openness wasn't accepted. And that scarring or damage is something that might feel inflamed when we have a whole wave spell that examines the heart within us. And so I want you to be prepared if that comes up. It's okay. It's probably old wounding, and the fact that you have time and the resonance to feel it is a part of shaking it free. And just stay tuned to the weekday podcasts if you want support, because I'll be watching for that in myself and around me. I don't have tons of themes that I dive into. I keep it pretty simple, and my experience of White Dog is that it's very nice to settle into 13 days of love and feel softer and driven from that place instead of my mind or lower chakras that have more to do with survival instinct. And yet I'm well past middle age and I have plenty of wounding, and so we'll see what comes up. We'll see together. I want to just do the Red Earth review, because Red Earth, the wave spell, to me always teaches that there is an evolution that you can trace. And I'm going to be really transparent. I've been separated from my partner for a couple of months, maybe even longer in a way. We had kind of a geographic separation, and then kind of made the decision to be separate, even though we were geographically close again. And in this wave spell, we overcame that. In the red earth wave spell, we stopped being apart. And I think that's pretty profound insofar as it really is an evolution. It's not just like a pendulum swing, like, no, we're together, we're not. It required growth in both people's lives, but we were growing separately, right? The end of this little path of red earth, we were like at the crossroads together. You know, we'd each done a thing, like went on a detour individually, but the paths reconverged. I'll find out in White Dog if that's for real. But I point it out because it just really is touching and moving to me that these wave spells can be dependable, and sometimes people can't and the culture can't, but the wave spells, you can't get your ego involved and say, oh, I'm going to evolve with my partner right back together by the end of this wave spell. That's what's going to happen when this red earth time shows up. We can't predict the evolution. We can just, I think, absolutely know it will be about evolution. And then you just ride the wave and see what kind. So that's what I mean. When we go into White Dog, I know it's a wave spell to examine how our heart is, if it's healthy and whole, and if it isn't, if it's fractured, where the repairs need to happen. But it's going to be about the heart. It's going to be about love, the verb love, the noun love. And I think with spring happening, hopefully you're in part of the world's hemispheres and spring is happening, or ignore this. Those feelings we have as animals awakening to the sunlight can feel very much like falling in love. And in fact, you know, many people do fall in love in the spring. I think that's just like a saying. I can't remember which one, but just there's something that happens to us biologically. I mean, I think because animals want to mate in the spring, and maybe humans have that rhythm, circadian rhythm in them somehow. But I just think there'll be a natural affinity and fluidity as we walk into the brighter days and more sunlight and warmth, and plants exploding voraciously around us to eat up sunlight. We will also feel like a light-hearted, light-headed. Falling in love is so heart-throbby that, you know, our heads can feel dizzy because the love or the blood is gone elsewhere. So red earth is also a wave spell that examines synchronicity a ton, and I can't speak to that a lot. I've said this before in other podcast moments, like, who the fuck knows about the synchronicity in the red earth wave spell? Because if you follow this calendar, it's synchronicity all the time, and that's why a lot of us do follow it. Why is that? Since you're a beginner, whatever the Maya were doing by inventing this calendar or aligning with this way of tracking time over 260 days instead of only tracking a year, which is 364 and a quarter, whatever they were picking up on, and I can offer my guesses in a moment, was powerful and has been sort of eradicated from consciousness with colonization. And so I think it exists at a frequency that is almost like only heavenly, like exclusively heavenly. And no matter what you think about heaven and hell, and I don't think about things that way, but to me the heavens represent the thing that isn't planetary manifestation. So it is more fluid, and it's just sort of light or energy without all this physical form, limitation of physical form. So it exists at a higher frequency. And that frequency is like, you know, if you meditate a ton or go to an amazing retreat or a kirtan concert, or all the different ways that people gather and are really in a devotional space to the heavens and God as they understand God, that's higher vibrational frequency. So I believe that heaven is just kind of that all the time. And I speak to this because I had a near-death experience where I didn't have my heart stopped beating, but I was really, really sick with a staph infection, and I was right there, like, what? I could go, and I felt high vibration, or the peace and warmth and lightness and ease of the afterlife, right? So that's part of where my conjecture comes from. But if you think about the Maya, they really lost their confidence when they lost their foothold on the planet. Confidence meaning their culture was diminished to such a degree that really all the strength of their knowledge went with the spirits that left. And those spirits seem to collect somewhere or come from somewhere they return to, where the frequency for their calendar discoveries originated. And that's why I think synchronicity happens for us when we slip into the calendar rhythms of the Maya, is because it's not like we're following Mayan territory people's calendars. We aren't, because the day names are anglicized, and this is specifically or almost exclusively a calendar that I'm speaking about, with the days assigned and the language around it that is about the spirit part, the heavenly part, the non-earth and terrestrial part. So synchronicity to me is almost just an adjective to describe something holy, and that it's so holy that you cock your ear like, what? And it's not like a disbelief. It's new levels of belief. That synchronicity drives new levels of, oh my God, I totally believe in this mystical thing. So it's the candy or the carrot that keeps us engaged. Like, what just happened? Well, I love that. That is trippy. So I'm going to keep going. Okay? And I love this diatribe. It's never spoken before. This is original new diatribe. And I love it because I really think synchronicity is a wonderful word. It came from Carl Jung. And I haven't read enough of his work to quote from it. So I like that Jose Arguelles chose the word synchronicity for red earth, but I like kind of finding out what I mean about what I experience following the calendar. And I think red earth has all those aha moments. Synchronicity tends to be like, you know what just happened? It's uncanny. And maybe you had that for the whole red earth time. And now it's over. So each wave spell has stuff to be treasured that we're sort of sad to let go of, but hopefully really fulfilled. I think that's almost the choice point, is to engage so much with the calendar that you're full when the wave spell ends. We had a whole slew of wave spells where you're just like full to overstuffed with really hard reckoning. But I haven't experienced that. We had Blue Monkey, and then Yellow Seed, and now Red Earth. These are all wave spells that are in the second half of the Tzolk'in, and I have found them to be much less frustrating or excruciating than the previous set that came in the first half of the Tzolk'in. We shall see. We will be together. I'll just speak to today as kind of an example of how I break down a day. Woke up this morning. And actually I went to bed last night really with a clear understanding that it had been a crystal day. My partner and I reconvened on the crystal day, day of cooperation and kind of reflection on what the wave spell that has been brought each of us. All of this, never mentioning the calendar once, all of this just organic, and me over on my side tracking like, oh, it's interesting. Yellow crystal star, okay. A thing of beauty that we are, etc. Thing of power, that's yellow stars, beauty and power. But that whole idea of just getting along and thinking about universal truths rather than individual ones, that's very strongly crystal tone and the collective. So anyway, went to sleep seeing the worth of that crystal moment and didn't have a big negative expectation. Like the cosmic day can be a little like, I have to endure and transcend today because I'm uncomfortable. Just like an itchy, scratchy thing that happens basically in anticipation of a wave spell that's starting tomorrow. That is going to be all new information because every time we start, it's unknown. Start 13 days or 13 moons or 13 years. We're in a time when we're unaware of what's coming. We can feel our way through if we open our intuitive channels, but it is new karma, like that's the point. Keeps us fresh, right? Like turn the page, next chapter, next layer of the onion skin. So cosmic days can be a little odd or disorienting. Cosmic, being one with the cosmos, can feel ungrounded, which I absolutely relate to. I felt really ungrounded today. It's red cosmic moon, so it's about water and fluidity and tides. The moon is in it, but the moon, no offense, it's like a big lump rotating around, you know, on the outer edge of our atmosphere, but somehow in our gravitational field, wherever the earth goes, it brings its moon with it. But the moon isn't molten. It's not, I mean, it's alive. It has an intense resonance field. It has a density, but it's not like super changeable. So what we do on red moon, in the red moon tribe, is notice that this orb out there has an incredible influence on planet Earth and the water bodies of planet Earth and our water bodies. And so it's about our relationship to the moon and how we're fluid and we can feel moody or menstrual because of the moon cycles. We're tidal. So it isn't grounded because it's fluid. It's not earthy because it's watery. And then today is guided by a red skywalker. So it's a cosmic day, which means that we're more of the cosmos than of planetary reality. It's a red moon day, which means we're in flow rather than solid or static. And it's guided by red skywalker, which is really about leaving our bodies and walking out in the sky as if on a psychedelic journey or plant spirit medicine journey, like out-of-body experience. Sometimes out-of-body experiences are because of trauma, like we disassociate, but chosen disassociation through medicine, and not pharmaceuticals ideally, but natural medicine, herbal medicine, remedies that come in an ancient way from more relatable plant, earth, matter. Those get us up and out of our body in the Skywalker way. So there's just a lot of reasons to be ungrounded today, and that's fine. I'm studying clouds in the sky because I'm a substitute school teacher, and we're going to be learning about clouds and the atmosphere in the next couple of days. And my vision and thoughts are all on what's going on in the sky. My gaze is caught in toward the heavens in a literal fashion. Like, what is that? Right now I see through my skylight cloud formations. And I see through my window the water of San Francisco Bay. So that's a synchronicity. That's a really mundane but important synchronicity, because this is exactly what I mean. I think about the calendar, I observe the facts about it, the day name, the place within a wave spell, the tribe and tone, and then I check and I'm like, what? I've spent the whole day looking at the sky, guided by it practically. Or what? I also spent a lot of time at my desk with the water out there, and I'm being super cosmic because I'm doing healings on people. I'm doing healings that are distance healings, proxy healings, which is trippy, right? And so it means we're all one with the cosmos and with each other, even if we're not physically present with each other. And so that's synchronicity. It's just, I think synchronicity is a training and a manipulation sometimes. Like, it's not a manipulation that hurts anyone or ourselves. It's just a discipline of being open to recognizing that even minutia that's stupid is part of spiritual fortification for those of us who need it, because we need it. We're not given this information just because we're collectors of information and want facts to back up everything. It's because we're suffering or lonely and hollow and hurt, and the synchronicity is like a revelation or a magic that is meant to mend us. So I think that's enough for a Sunday sermon. I'm Lisa Starr. I am another yourself. And in Mayan, we say, in Lakesh.